VTP has a number of items that you really want to know before you start to implement it. Starting with the fact that there are a number of defaults. Let's look at these defaults by doing a show VTP status. Now I have an unconfigured domain. That means I'm going to be running version 1 and my domain name is null. Now the domain name is case sensitive, and in order to agree to gobble up new VTP information, you're going to have the exact same domain name. So domain name null, blank, mode is server by default, no password, version 1, and the configuration revision number is 0. Did we see all of that? Yes, we did. Just got to know where to look. Very, very good. So no surprises in that output. It says here, a new switch can automatically become a part of a domain once it receives an advertisement from a server. So that means that my equipment will join a new domain. It will. Because my domain name is presently blank and I'm running version 1. If I'm running version 3, it doesn't behave that way. This is not true if I'm running version 3. It says here, a client can overwrite a VTP server database if the client has a higher revision number. What are you talking about there? What happens is this. Every 5 minutes, servers and clients send out what they have. Every 5 minutes, servers and clients send out what they have, regardless of if there is truly change. And that is very, very dangerous, because if there is a client that was resurrected from some other place, brought back into the fold, and it has a higher revision number, that's a big if, but if it has a higher revision number, it will join the domain or create a domain on the fly, and all the other devices will join that because they have a null domain. They'll see a higher revision number, they will gobble up that information, and they will overwrite what they have. The domain name cannot be reset to 0 unless the database is deleted. So the way that you delete the database is, by the way, delete vlan.dat. I don't have that right now. I've erased it. But what I really want to show you is a rogue switch coming online and doing just what they've outlined here. Specifically, a VTP client overriding. Because it used to be that we'd teach you that clients couldn't do this. Back in like 2001, we would teach it this way. And that's a long time ago, right? Boy, I've been teaching this stuff for a while. Okay. So, and I was teaching before that even. Okay. I've got a rogue switch. Now, this is a 5th switch that I've added to my topology that you can't see. And right now, it's not plugged in anywhere. At least I don't think it is. Show CDP neighbors. I have it physically plugged in, but one of my switches has the port turned off. And it's because I know this is looming out there. This is kind of a hard thing to demonstrate, but I want to show you something really cool. We're talking really cool. Show interface status. With an A. Oh. And a T. Show interface status. There we go. That's the output I want. Okay, so I've disabled this port for a reason. That's the port that has this rogue device. Now, let me show you what's going on with the rogue device. The rogue device has no VLANs. Let's do a show VTP status. And right now, I'm running as a server. Let's change that to VTP mode client. Now, I might have to wait for 5 minutes, and we'll edit that down for you so you don't have to wait while I'm crossing my fingers and hoping that this demonstrates the obliteration of my database information. So I have the rogue set to client. Now it is poised to overwrite my domain because it has a revision number of 16. And if we compare this against ASW2, it has a revision number of 2. And let's say I'll do a show VLAN brief. So the rogue switch doesn't have these VLANs. The rogue switch does not have these VLANs. And so if what we're saying holds true, they're going to get overwritten. So let's test it. Okay. Very, very interesting what's going to happen here. So I'm going to do a config T. The way that I'm going to add this rogue switch back in is I'm going to do a no shut because I had shut down this port. It's there. It's looming. It's ready to kill my network. Do a no shut. Now, the first thing that has to take place is we need a trunk port in order for a conduit, a connectivity path for trunking information to be relayed. Show VTP status. Oh, that happened a lot faster than we told you. We didn't even have to edit it down. I didn't have rogue domain before. Don't believe me? Let's scroll back up. There was a null domain just a few seconds ago. What about my VLANs? Did those get lost? Number of existing VLANs. 5. Oh, that's great, right? Nope, those are the 5 defaults. Show VTP or show VLAN brief. They're gone. I had 2 before. Now there are none. These 2 went away. Now what's going on with these 2 ports? FA0/3 and 4, they were in a VLAN. Now what's happening? Show interface FA0/3 switch port. There is a parenthetical that you need to know how to recognize. This is a big deal. Inactive. This port is not working. It's assigned to VLAN 10. VLAN 10 doesn't exist. Show interface status. I just want to see it there. I forget how it's going to work for us. Doesn't say anything bad. Okay. But that port is dark. That port is silent. The port is not working. An inactive port is a port that is not operational. So what we need to do is we need to fix this. We need to fix this. And it was all caused by that rogue switch. I'm glad I didn't spell it rouge. So the way that I fix it is I re-add it back in. So VLAN 1020, exit, and now my domain should have these 2 additional VLANs. Show VLAN brief. And I must be a server to allow that. DSW1. Show VLAN brief. Now my domain isn't one that I'd want to keep indefinitely. It's the rogue domain, right? It's the one that I had constructed for this. Oh, and remember, I had set this to client. So this really did override my domain. And by the way, now this one is kind of participating. So if I do a show VTP status, I think my configuration revision number will be higher. Yeah, because on ASW2, I added the deleted VLANs back in. You just got to see something really complex and something very scary. The deletion of VLANs as a result of having a client join with a higher revision number. Very, very scary stuff, and you've in fact seen all of this demonstrated.